Welcome to another episode of Business Breakthroughs. I am delighted to be joined by Jamie Kirschner, the founder and CEO of Education Advocates of America, based in Florida, but serving her clients and families nationwide. She is a nationally recognized advocate, educator, and community leader, and has almost 30 years of experience in special education, advocacy, and inclusive leadership. She's a powerhouse. A former special education teacher and school administrator, she founded Education Advocates of America to make sure that every child has access to meaningful education and empowering families with knowledge and resources. Under her leadership, her company expanded to over 40 states and has grown by more than 300% in the last year. So the impact that she and her team are making are tremendous. It's tremendous. Jamie holds a National Board Certified Special Education Advocate credential and serves on multiple advocacy boards, including the Sensory Safe Solution, which promotes accessibility in 9 countries in over 30 states, with her expertise spanning 5,500 plus IEP meetings and 200 plus due process complaints. The amazing Jamie continues to influence policy and education, and she recently earned a speaking role at the upcoming Family Cafe Conference, which is one of the nation's largest disability-focused events. So, welcome, Jamie. I'm delighted to be talking with you today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Appreciate you so much. Can't
yes,
wait to talk about
absolutely.
what we do.
Yes, exactly. And it's really cool because it's the fact that you grew 300% in the last year is speaks volumes, but I know our listeners will be curious to find out how the heck did you do that? And even still, why we're here today is to talk about, it's not all bumblebees and roses, right?
Right.
So if you wouldn't mind telling our watchers, what were your goals when you started this business? And then have those changed or how have they changed?
Yeah, well, so I would say, the original goal was for me to help parents navigate the special education system. And I myself was in the system and was really frustrated.
Mhm.
So I knew that parents and the children that I have been servicing since I was basically 18 years old,
Mhm.
were passion. So
Yeah.
my goal was to ensure that parents could understand how to navigate the special education system and to really hone in on ensuring that these kids were receiving the services that they need. And that
Sure.
still remains the
Mhm.
core mission for EAA. We've grown beyond the individual advocacy piece,
Yeah.
focusing now, on some additional things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Did I
Which,
go into that or?
yeah, sure. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, we're going to talk about it anyway, but yeah, share as far as, that continues to be the mission. But then
Yes.
in the meantime, you have found opportunities to innovate to be able to make an even greater impact. So talk about that.
Right. Well, so now at this point, we're not just working with parents and families. We are working with providers within the community to teach them how to advocate as well. And then, we are also looking to collaborate with businesses to add on advocacy as an employee benefit.
Mhm.
And of course, still always working on legislative change. I don't think you can be an advocate in this business and expect parents to go lobby and you not be lobbying yourself. So, the vision has expanded to include policy advocacy and corporate partnerships and professional trainings. But of course, the main mission is to continue to help parents and caregivers navigate the system.
Yeah. Well, I think you have such an interesting model, and what sets you apart, one of the ways that sets you apart is that you in particular and everyone on your team has experience both sides, right? So you come from a place of understanding the parties on either side and working together and helping people to work together for the benefit of the kiddos.
That's the goal. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think that it makes us unique. Yes.
Yes. So, what do you consider to be your biggest success or achievement in your business so far, and why?
Um, for sure, I would just say growing my little Southwest Florida agency into a national organization that's in over 40 states is super exciting. And, being able to have other advocates in regions of the United States working with me that each have their own niche.
Hmm.
We are not just one advocate when someone hires us. We are a team that collaborate to really bring a powerhouse perspective to each of the cases. And that is something that I am super proud about. And of course, it was a really big honor to be selected as a presenter at the Family Cafe coming up in June.
Hmm.
So,
And one of your
yes.
goals was
Yeah.
to get more speaking engagements. So
Yeah.
Jamie is currently a client in one of our sessions. She said, "So I did a thing. I just submitted. I thought, let me just see." And of course, you get it, and it's fantastic because it's going to get you in front of so many others that can learn from what
I'm
you're doing.
so nervous. Like I know that, people say for growth, you've got to step outside of your comfort zone. And
Mhm.
I've talked in front of a few thousand. I mean, the high school I was in had over 2,200 kids. So when they were all together and the parents, it was a lot. But
Yep.
for some reason, this is the number of people that are going to be at this conference is very, it's pushing me. So that's
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
Growth is good.
That's
Being
growth,
uncomfortable.
baby.
Always,
That's good.
right?
Yes, yes, you're gonna kick butt. I know it. So they're
Yeah.
lucky to have you. Yes. And so, alternately, right, we have the successes and we have what people see and what you experience. But on the back end, there's a lot going on. So, what would you say has been one of the most valuable lessons that you have learned in your years in this particular business?
Oh, goodness. I would say the biggest lesson I've learned is you can't do everything yourself.
Mm,
So, in the beginning, I tried to really take on all of this by myself and train advocates from the ground up. And I realized that I really did need people like yourself
mhm,
who already had the expertise on how to grow an organization and really helped me focus on scaling the business rather than just constantly training new hires,
mm,
hiring a business coach, who helps me focus on the big picture and zoom out. Just really does allow me to be strategic with my approach. And so I would say the most valuable lesson is to surround myself with people that have been there and done that to coach me,
yeah.
um, and mentors for
Mhm,
sure.
mhm. And an advisory board, if you
Yeah.
will, that can be with you along the way. So
Yes.
yes, and delighted to be here and be part of it. So as far as the tremendous growth that you've experienced, would you
Mhm.
say, or is one of the reasons for that because you have been able to, one, surround yourself with the right advisory, but also you said it, like I can't do everything myself. So, and you have a team. I mean, you had someone with you almost since the beginning who's growing with you, but you're very intentional about who you bring on the team.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that being said, that could be one area and whatnot. But what would you attribute to the tremendous growth that you have experienced in the last year-ish plus?
Oof. Uh, Sticking to focusing on my goals. I really do feel like just continually going back to the goals and figuring out a plan and strategy on how to get to the goals, which is what you do so well for me. I mean, it gets really overwhelming, especially when I'm still in the business as an advocate and not just able to step back and lead and grow the organization, it's really hard to sometimes get out of the weeds
Yeah.
and be a leader. I think that that's been the biggest thing is I have to have some accountability for, when I'm working with my coach on, am I following our strategic plan?
Mhm.
And just accountability. I feel like that and surrounding myself with people that understand my vision and are supporting me is how we've done this.
Yeah. Well, and you
And I'm
said,
not going to give up. I'm just not going to give up.
oh no.
Not
No.
going to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's rough, some days, but you do a good job of helping me zoom out and acknowledge and appreciate the growth because I do have this sense of urgency and impatience. Um, but it's, always nice when I like, oh yeah, we really did grow a lot. Like that number is not
Mhm.
usual.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and you said having goals, right? Actually having goals and thinking about what is it that I want this year and what does that look like quarter by quarter. I mean, you're very intentional about coming to the 90-day business planning workshops and
Yeah.
empowering your team to be involved as well and how they are involved and where the company's going. And and then just like you said, like having the plan to get there. It's
Yeah.
like okay, you can set the goals, but then the how, and that's where the strategy part comes in. So, yep, great. And so, what do you think, or I guess, what would you say for someone who's starting a business? What would you say is some advice, or what would be some good advice for someone just starting a business?
I know I feel like I keep repeating myself, but surrounding yourself with people who understand your vision and have already walked the path, finding mentors and coaches and a strong network. I spent a lot of time working with an advocate before me who I had to work really hard to get him to agree to mentor me, and I just didn't give up. I volunteered. I was really persistent in trying to find a model of what I wanted to be. And it's hard to sometimes not just seek advice from the people in your inner circle. And as much as they love you and care about you, sometimes they try to overprotect you. And that was one of the things that I got when I started this business. My biggest cheerleaders now, of course, and they've always were my cheerleaders, but my
Sure.
family thought I was crazy.
Hmm.
And why would you give up a stable paycheck and a very successful, principalship to try to start your own business? And, I mean, I'm glad that I had the foresight to look outside of those people that I trust so much, because I just believed that there was somebody out there that, you know,
Hmm.
I was watching the model of
Yeah.
other, another person that I thought was really successful, and I wanted to be him. Um, and here we are.
Hmm. No, that's so surrounding yourself with people
Yes.
who have been there, done that,
Yeah.
or have certain areas of expertise, or like you said, finding a mentor who's willing
Yeah.
to show you the ropes, being a student, I guess, of business or being a student of the industry so that you can figure out um, what is it that you want to do and how do you want this to look? And it's so interesting. I'm sure I can imagine that many people watching this, our families thought that we were crazy, when we were going to start our business, right? Where if you don't necessarily come from entrepreneurship, it's different, right? It's a mindset
Oh, no.
and it can be scary, but it's not necessarily another job that you're creating for yourself. It's innovating and creating something from nothing and you're doing
It
it.
still sometimes gives me a little bit of a panic attack.
Mhm.
A lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and but it's just when you do something you're so passionate about, it really is cliche, but I mean it's not like work. Like I feel like I'm filling my cup every day because just like what I want to do.
Mhm.
And so I mean, yes, of course it's work when you're working way too much.
Mhm.
But I mean that just kind of goes into finding your balance and that type of thing. But for sure, I mean, surrounding myself with people that have been there and done that is really powerful because when you're down, they're like, that's normal, just
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes. The breakthrough, right?
Yes.
The break apart to have the breakthrough. So what do you see as the biggest opportunities in your industry right now or in the future?
Um, Definitely for my agency and in specific, expanding into employee benefits,
Mhm.
partnering with corporations to offer special education advocacy or educational advocacy, especially in the times that we're in.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy with what's happening with the Department of Education and just out there statistically, you've got a lot of individuals that have disabilities, whether, whatever it is, ADHD, anxiety, depression, dyslexia, autism. There's all of this out there. And these companies have employees, and
Mhm.
all these employees have family members that they're trying to figure out and navigate what to do. So being a part of a benefit package, being able to offer that, I think is definitely an opportunity in
Mhm.
our industry. And of course, just legislative impacts, working towards policy change and lobbying for, education laws. And it's like, it seems to be a little bit up in the taking right now. So that's exciting for me to, as scary as change can be, I want to be a part of the change. So it's exciting. And, I feel like it's opportunistic to get out there. And my number one goal has always been to be a part of change for the better for these families. And
Mhm.
more so than ever is the time to do it.
Yep, absolutely. And then you touched on a little bit, but how about challenges in your industry?
Oh, well, challenge is funding. I mean, so much of this, of what we do, the supports that we're asking for is relying on funding,
Mhm.
which is why we need to lobby. The other thing in my industry, as far as specifically advocacy, is there just is there's not a lack of regulation. I mean,
Mm.
there's just no licensing, there's no certification, no regulation.
Mhm.
And so anyone can call themselves an advocate. So what makes us different
Mhm.
is our experience
Yeah.
as far as being educators and actually being, the people that are writing IEPs and, been doing this for 29 years. And there are board certifications out there. They're just not required for people to take. And
Mhm.
we've, just decided to do that because we want to be up to date and the best in our industry. So I would say that's a challenge. Just inconsistent quality of our competitors kind of brings the whole the whole group of us down
Sure.
and provides misinformation and mistrust for families.
Mhm.
And pushback from school districts.
Yeah. Mhm.
They don't exactly sometimes want to listen.
Mm.
So that would be a challenge.
Mhm. So what do you see as far as what's next for education advocates?
Okay, so for sure, we want to be in all 50 states. We're in 43. So these last 7 states,
Seven to
if it
go.
can, we're
Mhm.
gonna we're gonna be in there. And of course,
Yep.
we want to increase the number of highly qualified advocates on our team so we can serve more families. We are expanding into offering retreats and professional trainings for parents and providers. Um, we want to be able to, again, integrate what we're doing into wellness programs and employer benefits and the CEU status, continuing education
Mhm.
status for our course.
Yeah.
That's a big one for us too. So
Mhm.
I would say, we've got 4 or 5 really achievable, attainable goals in our future that we are going to be relentless pursuing.
Mhm. Yep,
Yeah.
you heard it here. So we can celebrate when you hit 50 and all that. Now, you mentioned a course. So is that something that you want to touch on a little bit more?
Also, it started off as being a way to be a little, uh, convenient for me as an advocate and my team. We're telling families the same thing over and over again. And sometimes we, some of the families want way more information, than maybe what we can do on a coaching call in one session. So we're able to shoot out the course to them, and it has 13 different modules in it of all of the special education process. So I can really easily say, hey, we're going to be talking next week. I want you to go look at
Mm,
module two.
mhm,
And, if you have any questions on it, you can take notes and be prepped when we talk. So it was a little self-serving in that regard to help,
mhm,
our clients. But then the other piece is just sometimes families aren't ready to bring on an advocate. They want to try to arm themselves and they want to go into the, meeting with the district, with some information. And the course is, I've taken professional courses, and it's like all stuff you can Google and very formal. And ours still has that, of course, but it's got, the tips and strategies that are just learned from the trade. And
mhm,
that I feel like makes it very real and unique, things that you're not going to be able to find on Google. And, even in Facebook groups where there's all these posts, it's like Facebook advice isn't always the best thing to go in and try to say to a team, because it can kind of counter that.
mhm,
It just shows you sometimes don't know what you're talking about,
mm.
which you lose credibility then.
Sure.
So just trying to be a reliable source in an affordable way for families.
Mhm. And then with the
Yeah.
CEU status, how about that with the course?
Oh, so CEU status, we're working on getting continuing education status for that. So people like board certified behavior analysts, occupational therapists, speech
Mhm.
language pathologists, even teachers that have to renew for their certifications and licensing. If they could take our course as a CEU, then it's kind of, killing two birds with one stone. They're learning how to advocate, and they're getting that credit towards their license, and we're being able to make more of an impact. So it's a win-win for everybody if we can get there. So
Mhm.
it's definitely on the list this year. It's like
Mhm.
a mountain that I need to climb.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
easy.
yeah, and for those of you who are watching, something to note in everything that Jamie is talking about is our business resiliency strategy, and one of the keys to a lasting business is to have different revenue streams or different ways to serve your clients, right? There's an overarching problem that your business solves, but then you can have these different service types or serving different populations to make an even
Mhm.
bigger impact. And it's a resiliency strategy, and it's the innovation that continues to drive the business forward. And of course, when you have a team, it really gets them like, yes, let's go, right?
Yeah.
It empowers the team as well. So something to note there, and just considering for growing a business, scaling a business, how else can you best serve the population that you're trying to serve? It's pretty
Mhm.
powerful. Oh. So how can people get in touch with you or someone at your company?
Education Advocates of America website is www.eduamerica.org, and you can go to our website and fill out a consultation link to talk to any of our team members. Our phone numbers on the website as well, and it's pretty comprehensive with what our services are. And again, your child doesn't have to have a disability to get an educational advocate. It's just about if you are thinking that maybe your child is struggling academically or
Mhm.
behaviorally, or you're not exactly sure whether you should homeschool. There's just a lot of questions with how to ensure that your child is being given the right education for them, because everybody is unique and not everybody fits into the, square
Mhm.
um, tag that the school districts and educational system has lined out. So that's what we're there for, is just to, talk through that. And we really do spend a lot of time with
Mhm.
parents that don't hire us. We're here to give advice because we love kids and want to make a difference. And Most of the time people circle back, but if they don't, we're just happy to share our knowledge and expertise and learn more about people and places around the country too. It's always helpful.
Yes, great. Well, thank you very much, Jamie, for your time and your insights and sharing a little bit about your story. And we will continue to watch and witness your growth and the impact that you continue to make, you and your team and the company. And would love for those of you that were watching, if you could please drop your top BFO, your top blinding flash of the obvious aha moment in the comments. We would love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.